Samsung S26 and its counterparts were just revealed at the Samsung Unpacked event. And, to get right into it, Samsung isn't really doing a large overhaul of its flagship lineup here, which isn't really to be expected. With the larger phone providers nowadays, Samsung and iPhone, they don't really reinvent the wheel every year because they kind of got the formula down already. So with the S26 series, Samsung is really just refining the essential features and doing, some spec bumps. Although there are a few new features that are worth mentioning later on. The most meaningful upgrade or added feature that you'll probably be hearing about is the world's first privacy display that is actually built into the software of the phone. So physical privacy screens have been around for a while, but to be honest, they're just bad. They're not good. They're physical, so they're always on your phone. They're not really customizable. Some viewing angles for your own use become disrupted because it's not gonna pick and choose between who it shows privacy against. It's on the phone and it's there for good. So since it is not just a privacy screen now, but an actual privacy display, it is a lot more customizable. It's a lot more intuitive. You can actually adjust the intensity of the privacy levels from just a little bit of maxing to maximum. You can hide the full screen. You can choose certain apps to use the privacy screen on. If you're filling out like a password on screen, it could block out just those pixels wherever you're filling out the password. Or when a notification is coming down from the top of your screen, it can block that out as well. And since it's a part of the software, it won't diminish the quality of your display at all. It's not going to make your screen bulkier or uncomfortable to use. Although the unfortunate thing about this is that this feature is only going to be available on the S26 Ultra, so there is quite a cost of entry to actually use this feature. Speaking about prices, there are some new prices. So the S26 base model is $900 now, so that's $100 up from last year. The S26 Plus is $1,100, and the S26 Ultra is $1,300. So the Plus and the Ultra stayed the same. They all got the deserved spec bump with the new Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. The interesting thing about this is that the build of the Ultra is, yeah, it's thinner, but the sides are actually aluminum now instead of titanium, which for it to be the same price as the S25 Ultra last year with the same storage, but now the sides are aluminum instead of titanium, feels like a downgrade. They did make it thinner, so maybe with the change of materials, what they really want to do was make the phone lighter in general. The S26 has a 4300 milliamp hour battery. The S26 Plus has a 4900 milliamp hour battery, and the S26 Ultra has the same 5000 milliamp hour battery as last year. Yes, that still means no silicone carbon batteries, which is interesting because with the change from titanium to aluminum and making the phone thinner, it seems like Samsung would want to make the phone lighter in general, and silicone carbon batteries would have allowed for that with still bigger battery capacity and making the phone lighter because the material is lighter, but still they didn't go with that. With more on the build, the base 26 now has a slightly larger display than the base 25 from last year at 6.3 inches now instead of 6.2 inches, and still the same dynamic AMOLED screen. So apart from your standard spec bumps that you've known to see from one generation to another and the new privacy display on the Ultra, it seems like Samsung is really trying to push their AI features with Gemini, Perplexity. Bixby is going to be powered by LLMs now, so we'll see how that goes. I feel like nowadays, compared to a couple years ago, the average consumer is a lot more open to using some AI features and using AI in their lives, even if it is something like ChatGPT. And quoted straight from the CEO of Samsung, AI must become part of our infrastructure. You should use every day. And he even went as far as to say that the new S26 is the agentic AI phone. All in all, there isn't going to be a big overhaul of how Samsung phones feel or function here, which wasn't really to be expected. These phones are still very much Samsung phones. And apart from the Ultra, they kind of just added some minor spec bumps, some quality of life stuff, which sounds good. But when you take into the fact that the base model is up $100 from last year and they still refuse to go with silicone carbon batteries, so the battery is still 5000 milliamp hours, same as last year, it's not great. But Tell me what you think about these new changes. Are you opting into the whole AI phone structure that Samsung is going with? Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.